Welcome back on board as we leave Dunoon in our wake and head out into the Firth of Clyde on a chilly October day. In the interest of stringing out Season 4 for a couple more days, we decide to visit Kip Marina on the other side. They're not shy, are they? Scotland's premier marina. They need to have some lovely hot showers and then I'll start believing them. And good pontoons. I think it's quite simple actually, what sailors want from a marina. That is indeed good safe pontoons to tie up to and lovely powerful hot showers with an endless supply of hot water. Nice little berth in Kip Marina. Good to be here actually, especially as there's a bit of westerly due, so it might be coming straight in the entrance, but we've got the bows into it, so we'll be fine. And here we are, nicely tied up to some good pontoons. But if you really want to be premier, can we have some hotter showers please? Am I in your world or are you in mine? Is this evolution or is this divine? I know what it is that we've all been taught, but what if we can create with the power of thought? You wanted a sailing channel? Ta-da! We're here, so sit back, relax, maybe manifest a beer. I know, moan, but come on, we all have our favourites, and here we are approaching ours. But before we put Altor of Down away for the winter and enter the premier marina that is Largs, how about a review of Season 4? Episode 1.
We're having a beautiful cruise in the upper reaches of the Crouch near Farmbridge. We had a weekend here. Fabulous calm weather and some walks ashore.
Hang on, I like the shape of it. Look at that. Beautiful, look at that. Goodbyes are so hard, but I wouldn't have it any other way. An easy goodbye is a goodbye without love. And without love, what have any of us got? Even though leaving those you love behind is hard, you don't leave the love behind. That is safely and securely packed up and taken along for the ride. We reacclimatised to life at sea, celebrating as we crossed into Scottish waters in conditions that were calm enough to encourage the stowaways out of their hiding places and into the warmth of the cockpit. After just shy of 400 miles, we approached the walls of Peterhead Harbour, having used wind power for half the distance and recycling dead and decaying dinosaur bones for the other half. It may have decided to get wet and windy just as we approached the place, but we were so pleased to be back in Peterhead. Asha and I love the place, which is probably easier to see when the sun comes out. The marina is tucked away in the corner, very well protected and full of friendly locals. But we weren't staying long, taking advantage of favourable weather. Here we are in episode 2, making our way north to the Orkney Islands in some beautiful sailing conditions. We didn't get it all right though. I enjoyed the speed a little too much and we arrived early in the Pentland Firth, where it was a bit of a washing machine. But we found flat water and a secure anchorage in St Mary's Bay. From here we were able to look around the Churchill barriers constructed during wartime and also visit the Italian chapel. Despite being detained on foreign shores while fighting a war for dubious masters, these prisoners had brought enough love with them to construct this beautiful place of worship. After St Mary's Bay, we pulled the anchor up and made the short hop around the corner to Scapa Bay, where we received a suitable welcome from the locals. No, I don't mean the tugs, even though that was a nice gesture. I mean the temptations ashore. Oh, what is a man to do? Yeah, that's right, Asha. I should go and confess my sins. Please forgive me, Father, for I need another drink, just to get my mind around all the sacrifices that our forefathers made for us to enjoy the very freedom that we have today. After a suitable amount of liquid bravery pills, we were able to face the evidence of mortality and pay our respects to those who paid the ultimate price. The concept of war is unbelievable, isn't it? A bunch of young guys who don't know each other, fighting and killing on behalf of a bunch of older guys who do. Now where is the sense in that? Here we are in episode 3, making our way to the lovely Stromness. From here we visited the Ring of Brodgar, where Asha did some ritual dance to talk to the people on the other side of the cosmos. Although on this occasion we didn't receive a reply, we did leave a message to the intelligent beings to come back and save us from our earthly cock-ups. Looking ahead, there are some nasty things on the horizon, so I wouldn't want to be here any other time.
We had a rolly passage from the Orkney to Scrabster. Beautiful sunny day.
We decided to head back to the mainland to pick up supplies, and the gorgeous sun trap of Scrabster was totally protected from the swell outside. And just across the road, a cafe serving full Scottish breakfast.
Thank you very much. Beautiful. Thank you. That's what we need.
We steer well clear of headlands at sea, but on land, we like to go for a look. And this one at Scrabster is pretty spectacular, with many opportunities to cock it up. I'm not the biggest fan of heights, but still, the edge of life is so fascinating, it's hard to resist.
It's 3:30 in the morning. We've been going for 4.5 hours out of Scrabster, and now we're seeing the daylight appear, which is always lovely. And we're going in roughly the right direction.
I'd be the first to admit that I don't see many good reasons to beat 200 miles to windward in this kind of sea state. But if you trust in your boat and trust in your crew and know that your heart wants to be in the Faroe Islands, then maybe that's what you do. Woo! That's better. Episode 4. Northbound with our friends Daniel and Catherine on Polaris, and another welcoming committee in Torshavn. By chance we had arrived in time for a festival, with plenty of high jinks and tales of high seas exchanged by fellow sailors. I did my best to convince them that a 200-mile sail upwind was good fun, but I don't think they believed me. Following all the festivities, we needed to clear our heads, so we took advantage of the wonderful weather and headed out for a hike. This was also a time for Asha and I to reacquaint ourselves with these beautiful islands that we have been drawn to for the last 4 years. This one, called Hestur, is our favourite, so we decided to pay it another visit with Daniel and Catherine on Polaris. We set off for a trip to the caves, and along the way I explained once again how much fun we'd had on our 200-mile beat up here. This isn't going very well, is it? Fortunately, the cave trip was absolutely awesome. You feel completely at Mother Nature's mercy in here, like the walls could close in at any minute. But what an incredible experience. We've had a few awesome experiences like this over the last few years, and as far as I'm concerned, the best thing about them is that they make you live in the now. There's no point in worrying about the past, no point in worrying about the future. You're just looking after yourself now, in awe of what is presenting itself in front of your eyes. With a favourable forecast, in episode 5 we set out from the Faroe Islands, bound for Iceland. And who could resist cruising to Iceland in gorgeous sunshine like this? I hope it lasts. Oh bollocks.
I'm thinking now, what causes the anxiety? And I'm just looking around and the endless horizon and the rain and just surfing on the waves. It's kind of beautiful and terrifying at the same time.
Without the sunshine, an element of anxiety does creep in, especially when you're surrounded by fog for hundreds of miles. But eventually, after working hard to keep Altor trucking, Iceland appeared out of the fog. Episode 6. Landfall in Vopnafjordur on the east coast of Iceland, and all foggy sins forgiven, especially now that the Icelandic summer has started. Asha, where did you put the sun cream? Oh, bollocks. This is the headland at Langens, and it's always a relief to get on the other side of this. the sea calms down to the extent that you can catch your dinner on the way into the lovely harbour and whale spotting venue of Husavik. There we found strong wind, single-figure temperatures, days of rain, our friend Mike on Pangi, and at last, Icelandic summer. Now I always try my best for Asha. I want her to be a happy girlfriend. But I have to say, there's one thing that I cannot give her, and that is the crack. This is now familiar territory for her, so whenever we're here, she follows her nose, and in she goes. And I'm right behind. Yeah, Iceland was designed to blow your mind, that's for sure. You can be flying under bridges, finding super hot water in the middle of nowhere, or just relaxing and letting off steam. After you've done all that, you can go to Namaskard, where the mud boils and bubbles up from hundreds of feet below and contains minerals so rich that apparently only men that are fools don't rub it around their balls. Episode 7, Divine Icelandic Summer Sailing. Destination, Flatty Island.
Look ahead, the sea is calm, and I know we've been through a lot, but just wait. Wait for better days to come and carry us like wind in our sails.
Someone once said to me that by living this cruising life, I don't live in the real world. And if that is true, then all I can say is that ignorance is bliss. But what is the real world anyway? Surely it's the world that appears to each and every one of our own two eyes. That's the world that matters to each of us as individuals, and the only thing that we should try our very best to do is to make sure that that world lives in harmony with those around us. When you discover that happiness comes from within, you can project it onto the world, raise everyone's vibrations, and attract like. That is the law of attraction. We know it works too. The purpose of these videos is to spread happiness and joy, and we attract it in return by way of the lovely comments that we receive from you guys. Thank you. We randomly met and picked up crazy Italian cyclist Luca and sailed him into the Arctic Circle with his bike. A chance meeting and an opportunity to share some of the beauties of this coastline with another person. Thank you, Luca. We really enjoyed meeting you. Luca designed and built his own bike, and this was its road test and his adventure, so I was very happy when we got both him and his bike safely ashore so they could carry on their way. And that was episode 7. In episode 8, we arrived at Ísafjörður on the west coast. Here we enjoyed the town and its picturesque surroundings and caught up with Mike on Pangi, and then decided to save Greenland for another adventure and instead head south.
Don't do anything I wouldn't do. That gives you a fair option.
Got a free run.
As I've said before, we believe that what is for us will not pass us. And that being the case, we were now very excited to find out what lies south of Ísafjörður by way of stunning western fjords. And we were not disappointed. Tucked well into this spectacular creation is the small town of Pingery. Once a busy town concerned with fixing trawlers, it's now sedate and sleepy, and while some of the locals aren't particularly talkative, others are strangely familiar. The town of Pingery was fixing British trawlers before the Cod Wars, so it was ironic to me that when we left, I caught the biggest cod of my life so far.
Oh my fucking god, that's a monster!
It is, but it's heavy. Biggest fish I've caught by a long, long way.
Episode 9. Basking sharks and burning a lot of diesel to get around the most western point of Iceland.
Altor of Down. We are cleaning the world one dirty dinosaur bone at a time and adventuring along the way. We're looking forward to getting to Acronis. I don't know why, but we already know that we're going to like it.
And we did like it. It has a classy seaside town feel about it, spas on the beach, a lighthouse for Asha to explore, and also our friend Danny.
We're not sure which way, but it doesn't really matter.
America, Europe.
There you go.
America, Europe.
That's where we are.
Whether we were in America or Europe, we marvelled at the mother of all cracks that splits the two. The Great Circle route certainly shows you what a strong hold Mother Nature has on this wild and ever-changing landmass. After sailing alongside such a dramatic and largely uninhabited landscape, approaching the city of Reykjavik was very strange. It feels as if Mother Nature has said, yeah, you can settle here, but the rest is mine. In episode 10, we were invited to put our nose into and to taste Iceland's finest at the Eimverk distillery. Now, whiskey's not really my thing, but you never know, with enough practice, I might get a taste for it. I'm not really a city person, but I have to say that Reykjavik is a cool city. It's very chilled out, arty and creative. This was my favourite, a womb with a view. After a few days, we picked a calm patch in the weather and cleared out of Reykjavik on our way around the corner to Grindavik, a fishing village and our first and only port of call on the south coast.
Somewhere ahead there should be some pontoons.
This port is extremely exposed to southerly gales, and in the cold light of day it was clear to see how many vessels had fallen victim to Mother Nature's wrath. To say that a place like this brings you in touch with your mortality on the sea is an understatement, and some pictures are worth 1,000 four-letter words. After Grindavik, we set out on a beautiful sail along the spectacular and rugged south coast of Iceland. We sailed into the fading light, getting buzzed by a large container ship, whilst the sun set divinely behind us and the moonrise kept the dark of night at bay. After a peaceful and tranquil sail along a coastline that has been cruel to so many vessels, we made our approach to the rocky outcrop of islands known as Vestmanna Eyjar. In episode 11, we started to explore, and we soon realised that within reason, you can do whatever you want here. You're in charge. When you make it to the top, you will find the guest book that the authorities have left there, so they do at least know that you made it to the top safely, and for us, a wee schnapps helped us find our way back down again, safe and sound. We said hello to Little Blue and Little Grey, the beluga whales in the sanctuary here, and then we got hot under the collar, climbing up the island's chief mischief maker, the Eldfell volcano.
Incredible, wasn't it?
Oh my god, yeah, it's so warm. Hot.
What a place. Iceland is magnificent.
Thank you, Iceland. You've been absolutely awesome. And we've had our fair share of summer. Yes.
Iceland has an incredible power and presence. Summertime here makes you feel as if you are tiptoeing around a large sleeping beast, and at some point you must say your goodbyes and hightail it south before that beast stirs and awakens for a wild winter.
This one over here is keeping it together, just about.
Yeah, I'm fine. Luckily, I'm not on the windward side, so I'm not falling off the bench at the moment.
Yeah, she's got the best seat in the house there.
After a 500-mile sail south, in episode 12, we made landfall in Stornoway, and it was wonderful to be back on Scottish shores.
Cheers. Hello, Scotland. Well done, Altor. Cheers.
Share on the cake to be back on the west coast.
We headed to the Butt of Lewis lighthouse so we could see the rocks that the light had shined us away from over the last 4 years when we headed back south. We visited the gorgeous Uig Sands for kite flying and swimming before attempting another dial-up connection at the Standing Stones of Callanash and Asha. If you're thinking of teleportation, then there's something that you need to know.
Wherever you're going, I'm going to. I'll follow you through the black and the blue.
There is magic here. Wild coastline, ancient mysteries, and even drug dealers.
So, Mum and Dad, I'm very sorry the house behind was built by a drugs baron. You were right.
And these, whilst not magic in the psychedelic sense,
Smells so good.
they're certainly magic to Asha. And so, after a glorious time in Stornoway, we headed out and across the Minch, escorted by some faithful friends, into a wonderful sunset. After a tranquil cruise overnight, we approached and were flushed through the Kyles of Ray. On the other side, we found evidence of a not so tranquil night, but fortunately, they got off on the next high tide. Then we made our way to the protected harbour of Mallaig, where we caught up with Daniel and Catherine on Polaris, who, like us, had had an awesome season adventuring in the north. Episode 13, and it was time to mix it up with the addition of a new crew member. Scotland was about to cast her magical spell on someone else, our friend Giles from down south. We set out across the Sound of Sleat under full sail, and in a stiffening breeze despite the crowded sailing grounds, we were in for a treat. We tucked ourselves into Loch Screesort, where we had a look around Isle of Rum's Playboy mansion. Commissioned by a rich young bachelor, God only knows what debauchery took place here. But what you have to ask yourself is, do you think such a hedonistic lifestyle made him happy? Of course it did. After a lovely bit of rum, we set off to earn ourselves the right to wear another sprig of heather on Altor's bow by rounding Ardnamurchan Point, the most western point of the United Kingdom. From there we hung a left into the incredible Sound of Mull, and Tobermory in particular. There we decided on drastic measures to cool down from the Scottish summer.
That is pretty invigorating. We could say that. Lovely, isn't it?
Yeah, it's amazing.
After the epic bliss of summertime in Tobermory, we made our way down the Sound of Mull, around a corner, and into the stunning Loch Spelv. After enjoying picture postcard Scotland, it was approaching the end of Giles's visit, but there was just time for him to jump into the dinghy and give us some never-seen-before views of Altor. Thank you, Giles. I think she's a fine ship. And just like that, it was into Kip Marina to say our goodbyes. Episode 14, normal business resumed, heading south. Coming past this lighthouse is one of our favourite places on the west coast of Scotland. We've now been picked up by the tide and been flushed through.
The wind has dropped and it feels so peaceful outside, yet the water is swirling and bubbling and it's quite disturbed.
And once again, that's us through the challenging Doris Moor and in the beautiful Galanack Bay. Greeted by a divine sunrise, today is the day that we go through the most beautiful shortcut in the world, again. And this time we didn't show it to you. We fast forwarded straight to the other side, into a feisty 30 gusting 35 in Loch Fyne. What better way is there to blow the cobwebs of the calm canal away as we make our way to the lovely port of Tarbet, hanging on for the ride. We adore our life of adventure. It's fair to say that it's what we live for, and whilst that means that we have to leave land family behind, temporarily, here we are going into Portavadie to reconnect with some of our sea family. Yeah, sometimes it strikes me what a parallel universe we live in. Normal life, well, consensus normal, carries on rumbling and groaning with politics, pontification, posturing, propaganda, peeling, pushing, pulling people's pride apart, perpetuating past regret and panic for an apocalyptic future. I gotta be honest, it pees me off. It appears to me that it's anything to keep us in the past or panicked about the future. Anything, simply anything to keep us from the present moment, the only moment that we ever have, the very essence and joy of the eternal now, where personal peace reigns supreme. I can't believe that November 26th is the berth we've been assigned, and that is going to bring us to the end of our full season.
Back into logs, Asha. It's awesome, isn't it?
Yeah, it's amazing. I love
Well
being
done,
relaxed.
you. Well done, Altor. Someone's over there filming. I don't know who that is.
Well, that's Daniel and Catherine, some more of our sea family. Thank you very much for being there to capture us as we come to the end of an absolutely awesome Season 4 of Adventure Now. There are so many people we have met because of this adventure, whether along the way or those who watch and get in touch via YouTube or Instagram. We are grateful to each and every one of you for helping to make this, our life, so sweet. Thank you for listening to my ups, downs, ins and outs. This is me, and I believe that each and every one of us should allow ourselves to be seen in all of our glorious colours. Altor. Out.